Welcome to another episode of the Body and Mind Sports Show. I'm your host, The Mind, and with me is my co-host, The Body. Body, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here again.
Pleasure's all ours. So this week, another action-packed show. We'll be doing NFL a review of Week 11 and a preview of Week 12. Turkey time!
Oh, break up the turkey!
3 turkey games to review.
Oh, there's been enough games to be called turkeys this year.
That is true. This week they have the bird to go with them. Like an actual bird will be there. They'll be eating it at halftime.
Does one of the games still have the turducken?
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
They used to. I don't know if they still do.
Oh my God. Okay, that is must-watch TV. Any non-American friends out there who have never seen a turducken, you have to at least watch the game to see what a turducken is.
If they do it, I would think, I don't know if it would be the Fox game or the NBC game. Because it would have started somewhere where Madden was, so I don't know which station he started it with.
Yeah.
Or if it's still going.
I was like, quick intro to a turducken. A turducken is basically a chicken stuffed inside of a duck, which is then stuffed inside of a turkey. So let that sink into your head. American tradition. So we'll be looking at that. After that, we have our fight of the night. Hooah! This week it'll be Bill Belicheck. Is he a superhero or a supervillain? After that, we'll be reviewing big-time wrestling events that happened this past weekend, Survivor Series and NXT Wargames.
And women running rampant in SmackDown and Raw,
and rivals. And that is never a bad thing.
And an interesting end to Ring of Honor this week. A little bit of everything.
It's
everywhere, man. It's everywhere.
Beautiful. After that, we'll be talking some NCAA football, reviewing the past week, and looking forward to this weekend's games. And then looking at the CFL playoffs. Semis are done. Grey Cup coming up. And finally, we end our show, as always, with our epic and suck of the week. The moment we thought was epic and the moment we thought sucked this past week. So, let's start off with NFL Week 11 review. And we're starting with, as always, our favorite Thursday night games, Tennessee and Pittsburgh. You have an opinion on Mariota.
Yeah, everyone loves this guy. Is he Kaepernick 2.0? I'm not talking political stance. I'm talking player-wise. Has he really developed in the pocket? Really? Have they really beat good teams with him in there? You could do much worse, but I'm not so convinced this guy's everything he's supposed to be as a top pick. And as much as people thought this was going to be his breakthrough year, I didn't quite see it. I thought he'd be good. I don't think he's horrible, but like when Kaepernick was in his heyday, his first year and a half of starting, I don't think he's really up to the hype. And honestly, at this point in the career, I'll just make this note quickly, because I think I brought up Kaepernick's stats dropping back last year and that. It's funny, at this point of his career, Kaepernick, if he was playing, was probably a better drop-back passer than Mariota, yet everyone loves Mariota, and Kaepernick, in some people's opinion, probably isn't a good enough quarterback to play in the league. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Mariota looks like Kaepernick 2.0 to me.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I was surprised as well is, looking at the previews for the upcoming NFL season, I had the same thought about Mariota, and I thought about the Titans in general, that, they should improve because they showed improvement last year. But, everybody was, even in, fantasy polls that I was in, every magazine I was reading, every preview I could find and read on, they had Marcus Mariota as like one of the top 5, like a top 10 quarterback everywhere, the top 5-6 quarterback. So I thought, well, what am I missing? I didn't think he would be that good that quickly, and I didn't think like his receiving core would be that epic to warrant that kind of high praise all of a sudden. So he came out of college basically known as a running quarterback for the most part.
System quarterback too.
Yeah,
he played for Chip Kelly and
right, and so far in the NFL, haven't really seen any evidence that he's been able to really break out of the running and become more of a pocket guy.
No,
Yeah.
he hasn't been horrible, but he's been nothing special as a passer to me.
Yeah. And yeah, as you're mentioning, the Titans can't beat a good team. Well, they got beaten 40-17, like destroyed by the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Tennessee got some work to do.
Yes.
So that was that game. The next one we're going to look at was the match we thought was going to be the game of the week, Rams and Vikings, and the Vikings crushed the Rams 24-7. What happened here?
And the Vikings are amazing at home. It's hard to bet against them at home. Case Keenum still cementing his claim as starter. Zimmer's even said now it's going to be hard to bench him. He hasn't fully committed, but he's admitting it might be hard to bench him. Rams went in and just faced a really good defense at home. And while the Rams are a good young team, are they good enough to beat good teams yet? But we looked earlier. What are they? 2-3 against good teams.
2-3 against good teams. So yeah, they're under 500 when they're facing tough opposition.
And this was tough opposition on the road. Though it was their first road loss, but Minnesota's no normal visit.
Yeah, so it looks like, obviously the Rams have improved from last year. They're 7-3, so mighty fine record, or 7-4 now, I guess.
Still undeniably a great season for them.
Yeah, so they've made improvements. They're now beating up on the bad teams, which is like step number one.
And step number two, they're winning some games against good teams, because we see some teams progress and they can't beat good teams at all.
Right. Yeah. So they're past step one, and they're partially past step two, where they're doing the beat the good teams thing.
And I would say it's much further ahead than any of us would have thought they'd be at this point in time.
Big time.
Kudos to them.
Well done. The one matchup we will not give any kudos to is Kansas City and the Giants. In case you missed it, friends, this barn burner was decided with a late field goal to make the final score 12-9. No, that is not a quarter score. That is the entire game scored, 12-9.
Oh.
What happened? Casey, what?
Chefs suck! Oh, they suck! They came off a bye and lost in New York to the Giants.
Chefs suck! That's what happened.
Barnburner's right, because you would have had more fun going and randomly burning a barn down than watching this. I saw the end of this game.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you need therapy?
Yeah.
A drink, something?
Yeah. I need something.
Thankfully, there was a better game on Sunday. That was Washington versus Nolans. It was something to wash away the bad taste from that game.
Yeah, with this one, we didn't know if the Saints would win by 3 or 30. They won by 3.
Exactly, 34-31. So can we pick them, or can we pick them? Boom!
And they nearly lost.
Don't say that.
No, we still picked it.
Yeah.
It's about results.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like, I'm patting myself in the back here.
It's Barry Horowitz time.
You better believe it, absolutely.
Pat yourself on the back,
Pat yourself on the back. So what do we get out of this game? Saints beating the Redskins 34-31. Saints still marching in. Hooray.
Hooray.
But what about the Redskins? Like was this an important game for the Saints? Like, did it show that, they're kind of like for real this year?
Hard to say, because I don't know how many good teams they've really faced on their streak, but you can only beat who you have in front of you.
Yep.
They get a good test because they get the Rams this week, but we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Washington, you don't know what you're getting from this team week after week. Though they play the good teams a bit better, and they played well against the Saints, so maybe that does say good things for the Saints, ironically.
Yeah, true. It is a mysterious team. I am surprised at their record. I thought they would be a little better. They're still under 500, 4-7. But games like this, they lose, but they show flashes of, what could be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, team to watch, Washington.
They are.
Buffalo and the Clippers, otherwise known as the Chargers out there. And the Chargers, the homeless Chargers, won 54-24 against the Buffalo Bills. Welcome to the NFL, Mr. Peterman.
Now take a seat. What does your boy Jack Armstrong, the commentator on Toronto Raptors game, say? There's no nation like donation?
Exactly.
Oh, Peterman's running a dictatorship.
Oh.
6 completions, 5 interceptions.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Christmas came early. He didn't even wait for American Thanksgiving.
My goodness, he almost had as many completions as interceptions. That might have never happened before.
I think he was 6 for 14, 5 picks.
Yeah. like he completed only 6. Like, I wonder if that's ever happened in the history where a quarterback
that's a good question.
Went like even Steven completions and interceptions, because that is unbelievable.
Good luck, Buffalo. Now you're in the draft hunt for a quarterback next year, because Peterman, that's not encouraging. And if you think Tyrod Taylor's going to want to stay there after this, good luck with that.
Exactly. Tyrod's got to be like, I want no part of this team.
No.
It's like there's like at least 12 teams out there desperate for a quarterback. And no matter how much criticism and you want to throw at Tyrod Taylor, he has proven over his career that although he may not be an elite level quarterback, he is still a very good quarterback and a very capable starter that can take any team to victories.
We should scroll Buffalo's roster one day, see what other good players are there, and try to figure out how they're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins, gone. Robert Woods, gone. Yet, ironically, contributing members to the greatest show on surf.
Mm-hmm.
Marcel Darius, gone. Oh, help Jacksonville's run defense. See where Tyrod Taylor winds up next year. Better let's see what they do to take off LaShawn McCoy. He's too good to stay there. They got to find a way to drive him out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're driving everyone else with talent out.
The Bills right now, they're kind of reminding me of George Costanza in that episode of Seinfeld where he says, if I just done the opposite of every decision I'd ever done.
I remember that. Made the opposite decision. Man, what a charmed life he would have lived.
So that's the Bills. They're like the opposite. Whatever decision they do, they really should be doing the opposite.
Can't stop the run, bench your quarterback.
Well, absolutely, because obviously the quarterback massively affects the run defense. Boom! Speaking of teams that absolutely break our brains, Atlanta and Seattle. They met. The Falcons won by 3 in what turned out to be a fairly exciting game at the end. What do you make of this game?
I'm not sure what to make of it. That secondary is just decimated. Chancellor probably gone for the year. Sherman probably gone for the year. Griffin, the good young corner, I think he concussion protocol after Monday. It's like, wow. I think now, Seattle, we're truly going to see, like, Russell Wilson undeniably is a great quarterback, but now he's going to have to carry this team on his back. Because that secondary is decimated, which is the strength of their defense, and the offensive line is still the offensive line, and they have no running game. So this truly is going to ride on Russell Wilson's shoulders. And as good as he is this too much to ride on his shoulders, or can he carry it? That's a lot.
Well, that's the thing, because realistically on offense, yeah, you mentioned no O-line, no running backs. So really the O-line, or the entire offense is Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham,
Baldwin,
and Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, it's basically, Wilson finding Graham or running around to survive to hit Baldwin on a big play that he bought time on.
Yeah.
That's the Seahawks right now.
My goodness, that is frightening. That is if they win any more games, then I think you could make a case that Russell Wilson should be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
I'd agree with that.
And that is our review for NFL Week 11. Those are the games we handcrafted. So with that, that's the NFL Week 11 review. Next, we have a few games that we've picked out for Week 12 that we think...
More handcrafted selections.
Lovingly handcrafted selections. We've picked out for week number 12, including all 3 Turkey Day games, three Thanksgiving Day games. So let's start with those. First one, Minnesota-Detroit.
Going to be a great game. Detroit's won 3 in a row against the Vikings. The Vikings are red hot. I like the Vikings in this. I don't know if I'm going to bet on it or not. I don't know if I like it enough to touch it, but I think it's going to be a great game.
Excellent. Yeah, it does look like a good game. You
really
would think
can go either way.
You would think normally it should be the Detroit offense versus Minnesota defense, except Minnesota's offense is actually pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So good match, strong game to start off Thanksgiving Day.
And Minnesota's defense is good, but I don't think they're as good on the road as they are at home. They're great at home. They're very good on the road, but they're not the same on the road.
Nice. All right. Love the breakdown. Next game we have, of course, the traditional Dallas game. So this week it's the Clippers coming into Dallas. So we basically figure that Dallas has a lot of questions that need answering.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, does Smith, the left tackle, come back this week? If he comes back, how healthy is he? Because you get Bosa and Ingram, a couple of really good edge rushers, so though their protection increased a bit. Interesting stat I heard today, though I didn't write it down to the decimal. And in fairness, part of these stats come without Smith at left tackle. But Dak Prescott with Zeke Elliott in the lineup and without. His passer rating with Elliott in the lineup is 113. His passer rating without is 88.
Oof. That is savage. A 30-point drop.
Yeah.
Without one player.
25, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, it definitely shows that the difference of the running game, just how it supports the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the Chargers in this one because Dallas is hurting. Like not only the team with the injuries they have, but the Chargers, like last week, given that Buffalo that savage beating, that's going to give them like crazy confidence.
And they probably play better on the road than they do at home. I was going to stay away, but you may be convinced me to actually take them.
Haven't they been on the road all season?
I mean, technically on the road. They're better when they're technically on the road.
Even when they're at home, they get booed more than they do cheered.
Yeah.
But it seems like their defense, even Bosa's starting to heat up, it looks like.
And that could be trouble if Smith's not back or if he's hurt.
That's the thing. And what I'm seeing the Chargers, their defense seems to starting to get some of that swagger and that domination that we were seeing last year, flashes of it last year.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're finally starting to pick up their game. And, with Phillip Rivers on offense, they should be able to, match up against anyone as far as scoring goes. So I'm liking the Chargers in this one.
I might take them. If I touch this, I'll take them. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Next game we've picked out is the New York Giants against Washington Redskins.
So for our American friends, if you haven't had enough turkey during the day, you get a great big turkey at night in this game. Washington and the Giants. Oh, fantastic. One, yeah, the Giants are garbage. Two, the Redskins played their opposition. So this should be great.
Yeah, so even though the Redskins are 4-6, they're really, since they played down their opposition, it's 2-8 teams playing.
Pretty much at this rate,
yeah.
If you have any room in your stomach, at this point of the night, if you're watching, you should promote yourself from turkey to wild turkey. Maybe even straight out of the bottle.
Straight.
No glass required.
Straight out of the bottle inside the paper bag. Don't even take it out of the paper bag.
Yeah.
Just go hardcore.
Just live like trash like these two teams.
That's our thought on that game. Speaking of positive, Seattle and the 49ers. That's our next game. Beat hard. He's still going to be starting.
He's still going to be starting.
For the 49ers.
What's worse, Buffalo taking off Tyrod Taylor or San Fran trading a second-round pick for Garoppolo? Not to start him yet. That's going to encourage him to stay when he's a free agent this year.
Very true.
What are they thinking?
I'm not sure what they're thinking. I mean, the 49ers are 1-9, so it's not like they're suddenly going to fight for a playoff spot. That ship sailed like 6 games ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what they're doing, actually. I don't know if this is... maybe they beat hard. Maybe he's going to be the man there? And they're going to somehow throw a bunch of money at Garoppolo to... Or Garofalo to... It's Garoppolo or Garofalo? I don't even know this guy's name. He's been buried behind Tom Brady for so long, I don't even remember this guy's name anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We may be if he was listening to the show, he'd be as offended as us as he is at the 49ers right now.
Garofalo, you and your agent, you guys got to manage your career better.
I think it's Garoppolo, actually.
Well, whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
But there is doubt in my mind all of a sudden.
We don't live by facts.
We don't let facts get in the way of a good story here.
Now, the only thing I suppose in the end of the season that the 49ers could have is A, throw a bunch of money at him, and B, I guess offer him the promise that
they'll spell his name right. It's Garoppolo, by the way.
Garoppolo. So I don't know. Maybe they want to find out if Beathard is actually the quarterback of the future for them.
So you trade a second-round pick for a guy you're not sure you're going to keep.
Yeah, there's certain decisions that we just I can't fathom.
How do you feel if you wake up today and you're Garoppolo, and a few weeks ago you're backing up Tom Brady and a chance to be a Super Bowl champ again?
Yeah.
And you're waking up this morning, it's like backing up CJ Beathard.
Yeah.
In San Francisco.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel good.
No, I feel like someone just walked up and slapped me right in the face.
I'd be looking at that one finger that's missing a ring that's never going to get one. Yeah, very strange. Next game we've chosen here was the one we think is going to be the game of the week. New Orleans Saints against the LA Rams.
This should be a fantastic game. Key injury for the Rams. Robert Woods, the wideout, is out. They still have weapons, but it'll be interesting to see how much Goff misses them. For that, I think, and because the Saints are on such a streak, this game could go either way, but I think it's worth taking the Saints as a small underdog.
Okay.
But I don't think you could go wrong taking either team either way. And if Woods wasn't hurt, I'd be inclined to take this for the over. I don't know if it'll matter, but it's enough to kind of scare me on taking the over.
Yeah, it's I can definitely see why this game would be like tormenting you because it's both teams have been playing well. Both have great records: 8-2 for the Saints, 7-3 for the Rams. Mm-hmm. Both leading their divisions. So this is a battle of the best. Mm-hmm. It should be a fun game.
It should be game of the week.
Love it. What might not be in consideration for game of the week? Actually, I think you labeled this the mess of the week. Denver and Oakland.
You have the Broncos get rid of their offensive coordinator, and they promote Bill Musgrave, who was the Raiders' offensive coordinator last year. Who the Raiders, I don't think he left under good terms, and really the Raiders should wish he was back right now. Then on the other side, the Raiders fire Ken Norton Jr. to the defensive coordinator and bring up John Pagano to be the new defensive coordinator. Denver is going to start Paxton Lynch this week. It's the mess of the week.
God.
I don't know what to make of this game.
This game is confusing because, when teams get rid of a coach, a significant coach, they usually have that one game burst where they have that one good game with a new coach, and then that's it. Then they usually revert back to their old ways. Mm-hmm. So this is very strange because both teams have brand new significant coaches, an offensive coordinator on one side, defensive coordinator on the other side. So I don't know what to make of this. I still don't know if they're just going to cancel each other out. Maybe this will be a good game. Somehow the offenses will go crazy, or
I don't know what to make of this game.
It's spring cleaning in the fall.
When I first heard about Musgrave moving to offensive coordinator, I was going to take Denver to win. Then I heard about Lynch. Then I heard about Pagano. I was like, I want nothing to do with this game. I'm a Raider fan. I'll watch it if I have it, but as far as like picking a side, nothing to do with this mess.
Yeah, it's even the more surprising that Derek Carr was having like the beginning of the season anyway, like last couple of seasons, really like making major improvements. And the beginning of the season, it looked like the Raiders' offense was just going to roll over everybody. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, for the last half dozen games, they've just been sputtering.
The game against New England, it looked like the only Raider who even showed up was Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
He looked like the only one who showed up.
So it sounds like he is, though, going to be the starter this week, or at least maybe get more of the ball, you figure?
I hope so.
Yeah. So last game we're going to look at for Week 12 is Jacksonville and Arizona.
I like Jacksonville here.
All right.
Might be a close game. I've heard some people say they'll take Arizona on the spread. I don't believe in Blaine Gabbert or Drew Stanton or whoever's starting for them. You know what? Blake Bortles received some criticism that's deserved. I know there's questions about him. I'm not saying Blake Bortles is going to be the guy you want trying to take you to the promised land. But I've been hearing people pan him, and there's been deserved criticism. There's been flashes. You know, that 4-interception game may come up at some point this year. Yep. I'm not denying that. But, you know, I always hear this, well, you can't do this with Bortles. What are you going to do with Bortles? Well, you're going to implode with Bortles. You can't beat like Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger with Bortles or something. Let me remind people, hey, Tom Brady, if the best quarterback won all the time, Brady'd be in 12 straight Super Bowls. Another thing is, even though, like, I would take Brady over Bortles any day, don't get me wrong, and Bortles does deserve criticism, I think Bortles gets too much criticism. Oh, you can't win with Bortles? Do people in this world forget the Jets got to 2 straight AFC championships with butt fumble? Mm-hmm. And in one of those, he actually beat Brady to get there? I'm not saying I'd take Bortles over Brady, but I'm just saying this no chance thing. Like, people just forget about history. And, like, I don't know. You got to get a grasp here. You want to tell me that you should have a better quarterback than Bortles? I'm with you, but you can't do anything about it. But, man, he's 7-3 this year. Get off his back. I know it's off the running game and defense, but really, get off the guy's back.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. I think Bortles has gotten far too much criticism. And quite frankly, how can you really criticize a guy whose team is 7-3?
Mm-hmm. I know it's off defense and running, but like, try to think of the games he's lost. I mean, there's games they've nearly lost because of his play, but I don't know if I could think of a game they've lost because of him.
Yeah. I think maybe it's a case that people are expecting that Bortles was going to be like an elite level quarterback. Mm-hmm. And yeah, right now he's not. But he's not a bum. And I wouldn't even say he's even an average quarterback. I still think he's an above average quarterback. Lead a team to a winning record.
Mm-hmm. Right now, his career is at a point he could go in one of 2 directions. He could still go in that Jay Cutler direction, which he was at early in his career, turning the ball over in that.
Yeah.
Where he has all this untapped potential. He's still early enough in his career. He could go that Phil Simms direction. Because Simms is like this for a few years. Not so much with turnovers, but he wasn't a good quarterback. And he turned around. So right now, he's at a point in his career. He's still not at the crossroads yet. I still want to give him like an extra year. He could go the Jay Cutler direction. He could go the Phil Simms direction. And be a solid NFL quarterback.
Yeah. I think this weekend he has a solid chance to pad his stats facing against a pitiful Arizona Cardinals team.
Yeah, I would agree.
So that is our review, or preview of NFL Week 12. Happy Thanksgiving, America. Next, we have our Fight of the Night. Here we go. Oh, yeah. So today it's Bill Belichick, the coach of the New England Patriots, 5-time Super Bowl champion. Is he a superhero or a supervillain? Buddy.
Superhero and genius. Now, I know people talk about the way he talks to the media. I don't care. He gets stupid questions and that. You know, I like guys who are entertaining with the media, but where are a lot of them? Rex Ryan? Oh, yeah. Yeah, entertaining. Now he's on ESPN. Yeah, he's dry, but I still find humor in the way he treats his press conferences. People talk about him cheating. I'm not going to deny that, but I think all coaches cheat. I think you're living in a naive world if you don't think so. Maybe I'm a little jaded, but I don't think so. 5-time Super Bowl champion. 2 more as a defensive coordinator with the Giants. And Bill Parcells, who is a great coach, never went to a Super Bowl without Belichick as his defensive coordinator. The man is a genius. He's a champ. He's a hero. He's a man. He's Belichick.
So,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Great. That's the lesson we want to give people.
That's right. Be a winner.
That's right. That's right. Follow the rules. Be a good sportsman when you're an amateur. The second you turn pro, throw out that rule book.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely. All right. Good points. Good points. However, I am firmly against. I believe he is a super villain. And Bill Belichick basically, and he's not even a good villain, like not like Doctor Doom or Magneto, who are kind of like people that can be resurrected because they were once good people and they just took a wrong path. No, he is a despicable, evil villain like the Red Skull. There's nothing about him that you can cheer for. He's a surly human being. He's miserable to people. He cheats, has already been proven. He's done Deflategate. He's cheated. He's done Spygate on the Jets. And who knows what other stuff is out there that Robert Kraft has covered up. And plus, you say that Parcells has not won without Belichick. I say Belichick is the ultimate leech because he leeched on to a championship-winning coach like Bill Parcells, and that's why he's got his 2 Super Bowl rings from that, because he leeched on to a talented person. Just like he has leeched on to a Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady to get him his winning season and his 5 Super Bowls. If it wasn't for Tom Brady, he would have bupkis for Super Bowls. And I give you his record in Cleveland as a coach, where he was a dismal failure. He was in Cleveland for 5 seasons with a horrifying record, 36-44, 1 winning season, which is pure fluke because he had an amazing defense that year. The other 4 seasons were abomination. And his first year in New England was also a 5-11, despicable, horrifying record. And all of a sudden, Tom Brady came in and saved his butt.
You're living in the past?
Leech.
You're living in the past, and we're on the current success. We're on the current success. We're on the 5 Super Bowls, and now we're on to wrestling.
We're on to Cincinnati?
We're on to wrestling.
Wrestling. We're on to wrestling.
Wrestling.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, fans, that is our fight of the night. You can vote for who you thought won this. And next, as Bill Belichick said, we are on to wrestling.
We're on to wrestling.
This past weekend, we had 2 big events from the World Wrestling Entertainment. We had Survivor Series, and on Saturday night, we had NXT Wargames. NXT bringing back Wargames from the WCW days. Take a look at some of the matches. So we'll start off with the Wargames. So we had 5 matches there. The first was Lars Sullivan against Cassius Ohno. Sullivan's new to the wrestling scene. He's only been wrestling for 3 years, I believe it is. And Cassius Ohno, he's a veteran of the ring, over 10 years experience wrestling in various promotions, including in Japan. But Sullivan, who is, quite frankly, one of the ugliest people I've ever seen in my life.
That's a lot of ugliness.
If you can imagine a 7-foot tall, 300-pound, bald-headed, fanged behemoth with a strange stomach and an overly large-sized chest, that guy would run away from Lars Sullivan.
That's quite a description.
So, but hideous or not, Lars Sullivan, all 300 pounds, anger of himself, pulled out of major upset as far as I'm concerned, and beat the more experienced Cassius Ohno, and actually dominated him. Ohno had a few good shots, but Sullivan literally just Hulk smashed him. So be on the lookout for him. There's another big man in wrestling to watch out for. The next match was definitely the match of the night, the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, you've told me a lot about him. I haven't really watched NXT, so.
Yeah, versus Aleister Black. For wrestling fans out there, Aleister Black, if that name doesn't ring a bell, maybe his previous name, Tommy End, does ring a bell. He's a Dutch wrestler, and again, Black has been fighting for, again, over 10 years and multiple promotions. NXT brought him over to go up against Velveteen Dream, who just, like 3 years ago, was in Tough Enough. So, yeah, very good match. Both guys rely on the mind games, including Velveteen Dream doing a Rick Rude-like entrance with wearing wearing his wrestling tights that had Aleister Black's face on them.
That might be the best since, Ravishing Rick there is walking around with Jake the Snake's wife on his what was it?
Exactly. Exactly, on his crotch, that's right.
His crotch and his backside.
That's right.
It was awesome.
So yeah, Velveteen doing a homage to that. So yeah, in the end, it was a phenomenal match. Both guys, big guys, but have tremendous acrobatics. Very athletic match. A lot of high-flying moves. But in the end, Aleister Black won, and he did say Velveteen's name, which is what the Velveteen Dream wanted. He wanted recognition. Our next match was a women's four-way title match. Was actually between Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, and Kairi Sai. And actually, Peyton Royce from Australia, she was actually the favorite going in, at least on opinion polls on Twitter and on social media in general. And she is a very good wrestler, and she's been having some pretty good success as of late, and having a few title matches of her own. But yeah, in the end, it was actually Ember Moon that pulled it out.
How was this match? And the reason I ask is because I'd like to know how strong the NXT women's division is after, we'll get to SmackDown Raw right away, but the influx of NXT women's talent moving up to the main rosters. You would think that'd be quite depleting. So what's left of the roster and how strong is it now?
Oh, it's a really strong roster. Like, all four of these ladies are phenomenal. Like, all are incredibly talented. They're just great wrestlers, period. And a lot of high-flying moves and a lot of power moves. So that's the one thing we're seeing more and more out of the women, is actually just serious power, pain-inflicting moves coming out of them, and not just the gymnastics. So yeah, it was an excellent match. All four women managed to pull off kind of their own finishing moves. The one that I think was the least had the least effective was Nikki Cross from Scotland, which is surprising because she's actually been in pro wrestling now, formerly on Insane Wrestling, Insane Championship Wrestling from Scotland there.
I've watched very small parts of it, not much. It looked pretty good, the little bit I watched.
Yeah, and Nikki Cross has been an excellent wrestler, actually, and you can see in the ring she's a great wrestler, but in this match she had the rough time as a go of it, but that could also be because she was in the match against three other really phenomenal wrestlers. So Kairi Sai, Japanese wrestler, high-flying, loves the high-flying moves. She's all about that. Peyton Royce, again, she brings kind of that nastiness and the snarl and more of an old-school type wrestling.
I love that.
Even though she is, like, very pretty and incredibly attractive. So kind of like the opposite of what you expect for kind of like a nasty, snarly, old-school wrestler. But there you go. And Ember Moon, she is just, like, she is, again, another high flyer, but her technique is all about speed and action and just constant motion. So it was a great match, and in the end, Ember Moon won with her patented finisher, the Eclipse, which is basically a flying, kind of like a flying head smash off the top rope. So yeah, new NXT Women's Champ. Next match we had Andrade Cien Almas against Drew McIntyre.
Upset of the night.
This was the upset of the night. Drew McIntyre came in to NXT just recently, over just this past year, over the summer, and came in, kind of like his second shot at the WWE again. And after some pretty good success with Impact. But yeah, he lost this match to Andrade Cien Almas, who has been on the rise. And this was a good match. This is basically a match against two big guys who just used a lot of power moves on each other. And in the end, Cien Almas, he just basically outpowered Drew McIntyre and got a very unexpected win. It even seemed unexpected to Cien Almas, actually, because he celebrated. It took him a while to actually sink in that he was actually the champ.
Now, one thing, because I thought I saw something about this, is Drew McIntyre hurt?
That's the thing. At the end of the match, I haven't looked further into it, but he was like grabbing his arm, and it seemed like there was something wrong with it. I don't know if it was a stinger or if it was something more serious.
And I'm just seeing a headline here. He's facing surgery. Set for surgery and faces months out after tearing bicep.
But yeah, either way, yeah, very unexpected. But like I say, a good power match between two good up and coming wrestlers. And our final match was, of course, Wargames. For those unfamiliar, Wargames is when you grab two rings, put them side by side, and then you wrap them around in a cage.
And one thing I'd like to add about this too, because I know there was a bit made about no top on the cage, because there has been in previous War Games, but I never understood the controversy. There was a part in the match you told me about with someone being at the top of the cage.
Adam Cole, baby!
And the thing, because back in those days, no one went to the top of the cage with the exception of the Jimmy Snuka leap. And
Right.
no one talks about, but there was a leap Adrian Adonis did on the AWA off the top of a cage.
Yep.
But now, guys fly around so much that A, if you had the lid, you can go to the top of the cage, and B, the lid to the cage, except for Hell in a Cell, isn't that high, so I don't even know how much top rope stuff you could do if the lid was on the cage. So really, in my opinion, like it wouldn't have made sense to have the lid on the cage. And nowadays in wrestling, with all the gimmicks, even as an interference thing, they always find a way in the cage if there's interference anyway. So even that part of the gimmick would be shot. So
Yep.
the no lid made sense to me.
Yeah, I didn't have any trouble with it. I heard the same criticism about the no lid, but I think it's also a product of our changing times with wrestling, because wrestling nowadays is a lot more high flying than it's ever been.
Oh yes.
So nowadays, even some of the big guys, like truly big guys, they're even doing high flying moves.
Yes.
So these are things we never would see before.
Well, even a guy like The Undertaker, who's always mobile, last half of his career, you'd even see him do the running suicide dive over the top rope.
Yeah, exactly. And nowadays we've seen a top rope isn't even exciting enough anymore. You got to go to the top of a cage.
Yeah.
So I got no issue with.
Well, I remember in the mid '80s, Randy Savage coming off the top rope onto the floor was a huge deal.
Yep.
Now everyone does it.
Everyone does that. So yeah, War Games itself, great match, very entertaining and very brutal. We're talking about earlier, and I had mentioned that basically Roderick Strong and Eric Young just took a beating during this match. So those guys will definitely have earned a vacation because they were just punching bags the entire match. They did very little offense. The match actually started with Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Eric Young, and then after that, the rest of the teams were locked up in cages, and then each one, after a certain amount of time, were unleashed one by one. Mm-hmm. So once the timer ran out, Undisputed was the first to fully enter the ring. Mm-hmm. Then the Authors of Pain, and finally Sanity came in. When Sanity came in, they at least had the good sense to realize, hey, there's no disqualification, no rules. So why don't we bring some tables, some chairs, a chain?
They did it right.
And they even brought in a billy club.
A billy club?
To it.
Sweet. I haven't seen that since the days of the Big Boss Man.
Absolutely. Brought in the billy club. And that's the first thing they did, is as soon as they entered the ring, they used that billy club on everyone that wasn't part of Sanity. So instant advantage to them. And later on they ended up using every weapon, the chains, the chairs, the tables.
And they probably got used against them too.
And used against them, everything. Everyone suffered at the end of this match. Everyone was injured. Potential serious injury. One of the members of Sanity was cut open quite badly, bleeding terribly at the end of the match. But in the end, it was Adam Cole, baby! Pinning Eric Young for the win to give Undisputed the War Games championship. So that was the NXT War Games. Great matches, great fun. Once again, NXT delivers. The Survivor Series. Quickly recap some of these matches. First match was New Day versus Shield. Good match. Not overwhelming, but good match. But in the end, the Shield won. New Day showing some decent aggression, mm-hmm. Which was interesting to see. And Xavier Woods was actually the star of
Really?
actually the entire match, actually.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he surprised me. He actually provided more offense from the New Day and from both teams, actually. He was the most active wrestler.
He usually has the least.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe I'm seeing something, but he seems bigger to me all of a sudden.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Could be something to that.
The last couple of 3 weeks, for some reason, he seems physically larger right now. So, keep an eye on that.
I am going to keep an eye on that.
The next match, we had a Survivor Series style match.
I would also like to point out something about that, because knowing the WWE's culture, coincidence that all of a sudden he's enjoying success now that he's getting bigger, if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Could they be pushing him more if he's out getting bigger, no matter how he's getting bigger?
So that's the thing, because I thought that in this match, the one thing I kept looking for was that the New Day were going to turn on each other. During the lead up to this match, they kept talking about how the Shield is not united because they've already broken up once, so they could do it again, whereas the New Day have always been united. We've always had each other's
Which
back.
often leads to the switcheroo.
Which usually leads to the switcheroo. So I fully expected it. It didn't happen.
It may one day, though.
But maybe Xavier Woods is going to get a singles push.
Possibly.
So watch out for any loose chairs around Xavier Woods in the next few weeks.
Even the trombone.
Even the trombone, yes.
I'm surprised that hasn't been a foreign object.
I think you're onto something here. Watch out for a New Day turn. It's a New Day. Yes, it is. The next match, it was a Women's Survivor Series style match, Raw versus SmackDown. So for Raw, we had Alicia Fox, Asuka, Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. For SmackDown, we had Becky Lynch, Natalya, Tamina, Naomi, and Carmella. So, big surprise in this one was that actually Becky Lynch, who was the captain of Team SmackDown, was the first to be eliminated in this match.
That is shocking.
So that was actually a huge surprise for me, especially since I think Becky Lynch is one of the better wrestlers on either show, actually, in the women's division.
She's a rarity. She's actually a face I like. Usually I cheer exclusively heels. There's the odd face I like. She's a rarity. I actually like her.
Yeah, she is. Like, I think...
Usually I detest people that the fans cheer.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we do love our villains. But yeah, no, I think she's an excellent wrestler, just, on that score. But all the other intangibles, she has a good look, she has a good ring presence, and good on the mic. So yeah, I was very shocked that she got eliminated first. But in the end, we ended up having a 2-on-1 where it was actually SmackDown 2-on-1 against Raw. It was Natalya and Tamina at the end against Asuka on her own. And the Empress of Tomorrow pulled it out, eliminated both of them, and won the match for Raw. She beat Natalya. Those are the two at the end, Natalya Neidhart and Asuka. And Asuka beat her with the Asuka Lock.
Nice.
So basically kind of like an octopus hold. And yeah, put her out. So yeah, Asuka, proven to the world she's for real. And she, I think, is the best women's wrestler out right now that I've seen in any promotion. So yeah, you get a chance to see Asuka. Highly recommended. As she keeps saying, nobody is ready for Asuka.
Nobody.
Speaking of nobody, Miz versus Baron Corbin.
How was this match? Because I don't picture this being a good match in my head.
Yeah, it was champ versus champ match. USA champ Corbin against Intercontinental champ Miz. It was a good match. Miz showed some aggression, especially since in the lead up Corbin made some comments about Miz hiding behind his wife and that sort of thing, and Miz kind of took that as don't talk about my wife, blah blah blah, sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, Miz has been awesome lately. Like, he's lived up to his awesome. Baron Corbin. Even though I like villains, Baron Corbin for me is kind of like watching paint dry.
Oh, okay.
He just, I don't know.
Well, he's definitely been getting quite the push. He's got new ring entrance music, new entrance period. It's actually quite good.
Okay, because I haven't seen much SmackDown lately, so I haven't seen the new entrance for Baron Corbin or anything.
It's actually impressive. It's like just the entrance alone, tells you that, yeah, this guy is big time now. Like, he's got a big time entrance, like a championship entrance. So it looks like he's definitely like on the rise. And yeah, he's the USA champ. And yeah, he pretty much beat Miz fairly, handily. Mm-hmm. I mean, Miz had some good shots. He got his shots in, and he put up a worthy fight.
Was the Miztourage sure? Because this is really heel versus heel match.
Yeah, it was heel versus heel. And yeah, the Miztourage mostly stayed out of it. Yeah, it was literally like one-on-one. And yeah, in the end, Baron Corbin gave him the end of days. And that was the end. So, good match, but there were better. The best match of the night, that was the tag team match. Tag team versus tag team. So Cesaro, Sheamus representing Raw, and the Usos representing SmackDown.
I would think this just sounds like it would be a phenomenal match.
It was a phenomenal match. It was both teams doing amazing teamwork, actually. Just great, like, double teaming moves. Great succession moves. Just literally, like, the two partners ganging up on the one guy and just doing a combo of, like, 5 or 6 moves in at once type deal to punish the other guy. So it'd literally be like one guy would, like, hold him for his teammate. His teammate would give him a boot to the head. The other guy would then, give him like a stone cold stunner. And once he turned around, give him a DDT. And once he falls to the ground, the guy would then get to the top rope and give him a splash.
Oh man, classic tag team wrestling.
Like classic tag team wrestling. Very quick, very smooth.
I like both these teams, but ever since the Usos did their heel turn, oh man, I've become a huge fan. Yeah,
and I think the Usos are the best tag team right now by far.
Here to the Usos Penitentiary.
The Cesaro and Sheamus, they got taken to the Uso Penitentiary, and that's where they stayed. Usos win. Phenomenal match. Best match of the night by far. Next match, we had the Women's Championship bout between Charlotte for SmackDown, Alexa Bliss for Raw. Another really good match. Very entertaining. Excellent match. Both women put up a great fight. Alexa Bliss was on the top of her game, actually, and very aggressive in this match. Didn't back down to Charlotte one bit. So even though this was a huge mismatch as far as size goes, because Charlotte is literally a foot taller than Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, she's huge, and Alexa Bliss is kind of small.
Yeah, but Alexa Bliss made up for it in just pure ferocity. So it was a great match, and it actually went back and forth, and actually either could have won this match. So in the end, after a long, tough, hard-fought match, Charlotte did pull it out. But kudos to Alexa, though. She had a great match. They pulled out everything. Alexa even pulled out a Frankensteiner against Charlotte. And Charlotte brought out all of her, bag of tricks, natural selection, finished her off with a figure 8. Mm-hmm. But yeah, great match, though. Great match. Next, we had the men's championship matches, Lesnar versus Styles.
I didn't catch Heyman sing after, but I heard he raved about AJ Styles after the match.
Yeah, this was a match that when it began, it looked like it was going to be complete and utter dominance by Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. Because he literally began this match literally throwing AJ Styles across the ring. He gave him like about half a dozen suplexes. All AJ Styles did for the first, 5 minutes of this match was flying, was like, taking air Lesnar. But kudos to Styles. He took all the punishment, and he came back and he started to work on Lesnar's legs. So he started basically doing drop kicks to his knees, working on the legs, took away the big man's legs, took down the big man for over 10 minutes trying to injure Lesnar's legs. Yeah, he applied the calf crusher.
And the counter to the calf crusher sounded pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty simple way out of it. He just grabbed AJ Styles' head and slammed it into the mat about 6 times. So that's one way to make your opponent like
Hulk crush, Hulk smash.
Yeah, just grab your opponent by the face and then slam that face 6 times into the ground, and chances are, yeah, he'll let go.
A good technical move.
Very.
Because technically, if you scramble the brains, The opponent cannot function.
Exactly. Kill the mind and the body follows.
Yes.
Wait a minute. I don't like the way that sounds. I do not like how that sounds at all. But yeah, very good match. Unexpectedly good. I thought this was going to be a Lesnar domination. It wasn't. AJ more than held his own. Well done.
I'm glad. Can you imagine the mess this would have been if it would have been Brock versus Jinder Mahal?
Don't knock India's greatest champion.
Yeah, I love Jinder, but I just don't know if this match would have been
1.3 billion Indian fans are right behind Jinder Mahal, the modern day Maharaja.
Yeah, after a match with Lesnar, they may have been way behind Jinder Mahal.
Jinder Mahal, of course, even though being India's greatest champion, was actually born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Go Canada! So yeah, Brock Lesnar in the end winning that match. And finally we had our Survivor Series match for the the main event. Again, Raw versus SmackDown. And in the Survivor Series match we had Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, John Cena, and Shinsuke Nakamura for SmackDown. Pretty veteran-laden lineup, actually. And on Raw, we had Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, Triple H, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. A little bit more youth, actually, on the Raw side. Good match here, and surprise, surprise, Braun Strowman dominated.
Yeah. We saw that coming.
Braun Strowman eliminated Nakamura. He eliminated Bobby Roode.
I'm surprised he didn't just eliminate the whole SmackDown roster himself.
Well, he eliminated Randy Orton as well. He eliminated 3 of the 5 guys, and he would have eliminated more, except Triple H decided to get in on this.
Oh, yes, and help eliminate Kurt Angle.
Exactly.
And threw Shane McMahon on him.
It helped eliminate Kurt Angle, his own teammate.
Yes, with Shane McMahon, the guy he's trying to get out of there.
Yeah, he gave the pedigree to Kurt Angle, dragged the lifeless Shane McMahon on top. So Angle is eliminated, and then with a stunned Braun Strowman watching, Triple H then pedigreed Shane McMahon, just for good measure, and then pinned him. So obviously Triple H wanted the victory for himself.
He had his own agenda.
He had his own agenda.
Nothing new there.
And Braun Strowman, like everyone else, was stunned at what he saw. He was not happy. Triple H was running around the ring, celebrating, being all happy, grabbing Strowman's hand and lifting it.
Yeah, I watched this on YouTube, this part, the post-match celebration.
Yeah. And in the end, Strowman finally had enough of this, and he warned Triple H, don't ever do that again. Don't ever get in my way like that again. And Triple H got in his face, and he got 2 power slams for his troubles. So in the end, Braun was the big winner.
Fantastic.
So in the end, Raw beat SmackDown. Good Survivor Series, though. Fun matches, and yeah, 2 Survivor Series style matches. Good time had by all. And that's our wrestling review.
Oh, there was one more thing.
Oh, yes.
Ring of Honor.
Ring of Honor, yes.
Interesting end. So,
Yes.
Bully Ray Dudley for the last few weeks has been talking possible retirement, seeming like it might be a legitimate statement because of concussion issues. I'll say ahead of time, I think where this may be going is maybe it's going to a retirement match. So an Angle at the end of ROH, he's coming out to announce his retirement. And this is in Philly, and I think it's actually in the bingo hall where ECW used to be. And he's talking about Ring of Honor and just his career in general and being back in Philadelphia. He was very sullen, announcing, he'd love to go on, but, the concussion trouble and that, this will be it for him. Head of ROH, though, comes out.
Okay.
And congratulates him and just says he has a place with him and wants to show his appreciation. Then, I don't know if it's Jay Briscoe or the other Briscoe. There's 2 Briscoe brothers. He comes out And he starts taunting Bubba Ray. You're going out like this. He spits at him and everything. He's drawing heat. The end of the show just drew major heat. Fans are pissed. Anyways, he comes out, and eventually he attacks Bubba Ray from behind. It's just one shot to the top of the shoulder's neck, but because of the concussion issue, it sells, and Bubba goes down like a ton of bricks, and he's out. Joe Kopp, that's the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
And he's getting in Briscoe's face, and it looks like Briscoe's going to mess him up. Velvet Sky comes out. I think she's dating Bubba right now. She's covering him up, crying. Briscoe looks like he's going to do more. He goes to grab a chair. All of a sudden, his brother comes out, who I think they've been trying to sell there's conflict between them lately. His arm's wrapped up. They have words. His brother takes the chair from him. Bubba Ray gets up. Turns around, low blow to Bully Ray. Bully Ray's down. Everything's just hitting the fan. Actually, I can't even remember if Velvet Sky was there before or after, but she's covering up. They threaten to hit her with the chair while she's covering him up. Tommy Dreamer comes out. He starts getting mad. They start beating on Tommy Dreamer with the chair.
Nice.
In Philadelphia. So Tommy Dreamer's beaten with a chair. Bully Ray's beaten while he has concussion trouble. And people are losing their minds. One thing about ROH, I don't always watch it. They don't always draw heat. But, man, when they draw some heat on that show, they draw some major league heat.
That is very
And the end of this show drew some major league heat.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it. So I'm looking forward to next week's edition of Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is our wrestling review for this week. Next, let's take a look at some NCAA football from this past weekend.
Oh, yeah, my Michigan pick really worked out. Yeah, they got beat handily.
Yeah, so you had Wisconsin and Michigan.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, surprisingly, had a fairly easy romp over Michigan.
Yeah, I thought it was going to at least be a close game. I thought Michigan was worth it. Though I did win my bet there'd be a defensive or special teams touchdown. So that made up for my loss. But the thing I want to point out about Wisconsin is Wisconsin gets a lot of criticism for their schedule this year, even though they're unbeaten. And there's some people saying even if they win their conference, they might not get to the playoff championship because of their schedule. Heard an interesting thing today, though, and this bothers me, both selection committee and the media. Wisconsin, unbeaten, strength of schedule, ranked 62nd in the country. Oh, by the way, Alabama, who's first and unbeaten, and everyone loves them, strength of schedule, 60th in the country. Really no difference from Wisconsin's. Now, in fairness, they've looked more impressive than Wisconsin, but nonetheless, Wisconsin should be getting more love.
Yeah, and given the fact they're 11-0, they should be getting tons of love.
Yes. Even if it is against a weak schedule, it's really not much weaker than Alabama's has been.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, 60 versus 64, like, you're nitpicking there if you're picking out strength of schedule.
It's that perception of powerhouses and brand name.
That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Because Alabama, they've been national champions for multiple years, and they've been number one for multiple years. So they've got basically history giving them an extra boost. You wanted to talk about UCLA and USC.
Battle of the prospect quarterbacks, Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold. I think Darnold has a way to go. There's talk he might go back to school next year. I don't know if he's better off going to school or going to the NFL. Another year in school might not hurt. I'm usually not big on guys going back. And guys at USC have gone back and it hasn't worked out. Leinert's one, Barkley's another. So I'm on the fence about that. Rosen, second time I've seen him play. First time I've seen him play was the game against Texas A&M opening day. And I saw bad and good in the same day. Huge comeback. This game I saw a lot of good, even though they lost. To me, he's NFL ready. I mean, he's not perfect. There's things to work on, but there usually is with kids. I think he could play in the NFL right now.
Another thing to, mention this past weekend, we mentioned the week before, all these apparent mismatches this past weekend's slew of games. And, they were all mismatches. Not one single upset among them. Whether it was Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Miami, Auburn, they all destroyed the minnows that were thrown at them.
Oh, and speaking of Oklahoma, their game was at Kansas. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, after a third-quarter touchdown, swearing at the Kansas bench and fans while grabbing his crotch.
Oh, yay. That might get a talking to from NCAA.
Yeah, earlier this year, he planted an Oklahoma flag on the field when they won at Ohio State. It's interesting. He looks like he might win the Heisman. NFL prospect, it's kind of interesting. There's things I like, there's things I don't like. He comes from that offensive system in Oklahoma, which has not lent itself well to NFL prospects. He has a competitive fire I really like. He makes plays out of the pocket. And then he goes and does bonehead things like this. And, I start thinking of Jameis Winston eating a W and stuff like that. And it's like, there's things I like about him that point NFL prospect. And then there's things that point Jameis Winston to me where it's serviceable NFL. And then there's things that just straight up point Manziel to me.
Right.
I'm not sure what to make of this kid.
One game you wanted to point out coming up, big, huge, massive matchup this weekend. Alabama-Auburn.
Alabama-Auburn! Going down south for about the Iron Bowl. This is always a huge game. Oh, this should just be massive. I know Michigan and Ohio State play this weekend too. Mm-hmm. That's a huge rivalry, but really compared, Alabama-Auburn could have national championship implications. This is going to be a really good game. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm going to enjoy watching it.
All right. Well, that's our look at the NCAA for this past week. Sticking with football, CFL playoffs, they continued. 2 big semifinal matches this week.
Big.
Saskatchewan-Toronto. Toronto won that 25-21. So the Argonauts are going to the Grey Cup once again.
Mark Trestman going to the Grey Cup once again.
How about that? First year back in the CFL. Turns a franchise that at the beginning of the season had no coach, had no GM, had almost no players, no staff at all, and they're going to the Grey Cup.
An amazing CFL coach and a horrible NFL coach.
Go figure. I don't know how that happens. You would like to think that somebody that's that wildly successful in the CFL could translate some of those skills to the NFL. Especially the fact that he's supposed to be an offensive genius.
Part of it, too, I think maybe there's a couple things. It's strange. He seems more committed to the run in the CFL than he was in the NFL, which seems strangely ironic.
Yeah.
The other thing is it is a different game, and some people, there's no shame in it. Some people are more built for the CFL, more for the NFL.
That's true. Yep.
I think there's some successful NFL coaches, even if they knew the rules up here, would still flop up here.
Yep.
Vice versa.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. So you could be one of those cases. We always talk about players that some are better suited for the CFL than NFL, and in this case, coaches. Yeah, obviously Trestman is one of them.
Yeah.
So big time, crazy game in the end, as usually happens in the CFL. It's like don't turn away from this game ever, because usually the last 2 minutes of a CFL game are absolute insanity. And this one was no different. Saskatchewan thought they had the game-winning touchdown with 1.5 minutes to go to the game. And they would have had the opposing quarterback been anyone else but future CFL Hall of Famer Ricky Ray.
Yeah.
And all he did is march his team down nearly 100 yards, and then he really scored the game-winning touchdown. Argonauts winning 25-21. Big day by Ricky Ray, 266 yards passing. James Wilder having a good day.
He had a huge catch, though.
Well, he had both. You can't fault him for his consistency because he had 52 yards rushing, 52 yards receiving.
He had a good all-around game.
Just a good all-around game. 104 total yards. He has been a huge difference to the Argonauts coming in midway through the season. James Wilder Jr. and Senior will be there at the Grey Cup.
Oh, nice. I liked him as a player.
Yep. So,
He was on some bad teams, but I was a huge fan.
Yeah, wasn't he in Tampa Bay for the longest time?
Oh.
They were orange and had that crazy floppy Buccaneer.
Oh, yeah, before the Dungy years.
Biting the dagger.
Oh, yeah.
His son is having a little better luck. Might be getting fitted for a ring.
Yeah, Senior was a great player in a bad team.
In the other game, Calgary, who we both thought was not going to win the Battle of Alberta.
Won the Battle of Alberta.
Stampeders winning 32-28 against their hated provincial rivals.
And a very questionable call late in the game.
Exactly. So, yeah, take us through that. Minute
Could
and a
have gone
half.
for third. Was it third and 4?
Third and 4.
Yeah, third and 4.
On the 13-yard line.
With the quarterback who's up for most outstanding player. Moss, who is a former quarterback and an offensive background, was a great offensive coordinator in Ottawa. So this isn't a defensive-minded coach.
Yep.
Decides they're going to kick the field goal? What?
Pardon?
Excuse me? You need the touchdown, you're kicking the field goal?
Minute and a half, 13-yard line with the most outstanding player as your quarterback.
And against a team you haven't stopped their running back all day.
Exactly.
We're going to kick the field goal and believe in our defense.
And by golly, that's what they did.
And by golly, it didn't turn out.
It did not. Even though technically Edmonton did get the ball back, Calgary eventually kicked it back to them with about 25 seconds left in the game. It might have been interesting had the Edmonton returner held on to the ball, but he didn't. Ball hit him in the hands. He fumbled it, recovered by Calgary. Game over now for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely Jason Moss, Edmonton coach, will have the entire offseason now to regret that decision of doing the field goal instead of going for the touchdown.
I don't understand that. I don't think anyone understands that.
No, and it wasn't like Mike Riley was having a struggling game unless you consider 23 for 38 and 348 yards passing a struggling game.
And I would say the second half was stronger than the first.
Yeah. So he was rolling. He had 2 receivers go over 100 yards for him, Hazelton and Darrell Walker. So, yeah. So there was no struggle at all in Edmonton offense there. So.
You're asking Riley to get you 4 yards if you go for it.
Pretty much.
So with good receivers, and if it's not there, he's mobile enough to run for the 4 himself.
Exactly. He is not a statue back there. He can actually move. Crazy call, crazy game once again. So we have Toronto versus Calgary in the final.
This should be a great game.
Do you have a favorite here?
I don't know. I was thinking of taking Toronto. I think you go either way. Calgary has better special teams. Calgary has a better defense. Toronto has a better run defense. And Toronto has a better offense. 7-point underdog. Can they cover the 7 or can they win? Plus, Calgary's coming off a Grey Cup last year where they were heavily favored, and they lost that.
That's right.
So you know they're not going to be asleep at the wheel this time.
Exactly.
But it's hard to go against Toronto either. I might take a shot on Toronto. There's even a chance I don't touch this game. I could see it going either way, but Toronto's paying $3.60 on the money line.
Okay.
And that's
motivating.
For having a legit shot. The other one is even if Calgary wins, they win by more than 7 because I could see this one coming down to who has the ball last.
Right.
So
I would expect that. I would expect whoever has the ball last
wins this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. If nothing else, it's going to be a very entertaining game.
I think it will still be Calgary, even though we've heard that Bo Levi Mitchell has been playing with an undisclosed injury, as far as I know, so far this season, which has been affecting his throwing. So that's why his passing stats are down this year from previous years. But still, he's able to get out there, get the job done. And on Calgary side, they have some monster running and some still good receivers, and an excellent defense.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be Calgary, because I think Toronto's had a great turnaround so far, but to turn around from 0 to champion in 1 year, I think that's asking a bit much.
I don't think it's impossible, but the thing that worries me about possibly taking Toronto is, like I said, Calgary already lost as a healthy favorite last year, and they may be worried about falling asleep at the wheel and that happening again this year.
Yeah. Excellent. So, we'll look forward to that. That'll be Sunday, November the 25th. Coupe de Grey at 5 Central. So, don't you dare miss it. And finally, and that's our review of the CFL playoffs. And finally, we come to the last segment of our show. As always, our epic and our suck of the week. The moment we thought was epic week and the moment we thought sucked over the last week. Buddy, take it away.
Yeah, I have a real epic like for me here. Jamie Hogaboom, he wrote a letter to the Winnipeg Jets, and he thought he was soliciting help fighting mental illness. He was a homeless artist, and I'd actually see him in downtown Winnipeg a lot. He would be there with art, and he'd be panhandling for money. A couple times just stop by, just give a little change and talk to me a little bit a couple times. No deep conversations, but he struck me as a nice guy, pretty bright guy. Don't really know him, it was just in passing. Anyways, this was this past summer and then see him there routinely. So anyways, this just came up about a week or two ago. Hand wrote a letter to the Jets hoping to raise money for a Winnipeg art studio and for helping fight for some mental health awareness. And he began a partnership where the team began commissioning his artwork, starting with a picture of Dale Hawerchuk that was unveiled at the Jets Hall of Fame luncheon last week. So that's great. So he's actually working for the Jets commissioning pictures. And I don't know if I think he's still staying at Slow Mission, which is a place for homeless people in Winnipeg.
Yep, homeless shelter, basically.
Homeless shelter. Yep. But yeah, he was, I believe, working 70 hours a week as a cab driver, and he was having a tough time still making ends meet. And then I think he just pretty much walked away and everything. And then the homeless life and the struggles really kicked in.
Right.
And so it's good to see something like that and him turning his life around. Like I said, I don't know him, but actually being able to meet him.
Yep.
And put a face on it much more than just seeing this story somewhere else. Because it's never generic, even if you don't see it. But it's not the same as when you've actually at least met the person somewhat. So I'm very happy for him, and I'm glad to see this story. And I hope things continue to work out for him.
Excellent. Excellent. Love it. Potential rags to riches, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes.
Your suck of the week.
Oh, the Atlanta Braves situation. So, yeah, it's pretty complicated situation, but they were seriously violating some international player signing practices and filtering money where they shouldn't have, and violating just serious violations with Major League Baseball. So Major League Baseball suspended their GM for life, suspended the assistant GM for a year. That part, I like the punishment, but what the Braves were doing was just garbage. The other part that's just garbage is the scapegoat part of this. Because there's people higher up in the Braves organization who are baseball people, and you can't tell me they didn't know this was going on, and no punishment. So shame on the Braves for this, but the shame on Major League Baseball, because I think there were scapegoats here. And I don't know how other people wind up going unpunished. You can't tell me only 2 people in the organization knew about this, and no one else did. So
the owner should have also gotten some punishment, you figure.
At least the vice president, because he's a former GM. He knows baseball. He didn't realize this was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this against the Braves and this against Major League Baseball, while I give them kudos for punishment, I think they let some people off the hook as well.
Excellent. Yeah, no, definitely. Fully agree with that. But yeah, glad at least the Major League Baseball handed a pretty severe punishment to the Braves.
Yeah, that part I liked.
Yeah. All right, excellent. My epic of the week is Dale Hawerchuk, former Winnipeg Jets, great legendary hockey player, being inducted into the Winnipeg Jets Hall of Fame. Well deserved. I know the Jets, after they came back, moving from Atlanta, coming back to Winnipeg, team ownership has been reluctant to acknowledge the 1.0 version of the Jets. They kind of wanted to do this whole, we're starting fresh, we're not acknowledging our past, but hey, you're back in a city that loved the 1.0 version of the Jets, so to try and ignore that history was, quite frankly, unrealistic and foolish even.
If you weren't going to do it, you shouldn't have even taken the name in the first place.
Exactly. So thankfully they've changed their tune on that, and they are starting to acknowledge their past, which is a beautiful thing. And yeah, this a week ago on Tuesday, on November the 14th, the Jets inducted Dale Hawerchuk into the Jets Hall of Fame. The best Winnipeg Jet player of all time, as far as I'm concerned. 5 times, actually 6 times scoring over 100 points. And he was an NHL All-Star multiple times. He was in the running for the Hart Trophy. He won the Canada Cup. He won World Championships. He did everything he could. He probably would have taken the Jets all the way to Stanley Cup final if there wasn't those nasty Edmonton Oilers around at the time with that Wayne Great Sky, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, that kid. He turned out okay.
Good kid. He tried hard.
That messed up kid.
Yeah.
Messed up.
I don't want to talk about them. They make me angry. But yeah, Dale Hawerchuk, great success with 2 franchises, the Jets, the Sabres, and had a cup of coffee with the Blues and then ended up with the Flyers. But really it was with the Jets that he had his greatest seasons. So kudos to him and well done. Congrats. Very happy. Greatest Jet of all time. Where he belongs.
And a great picture by Jamie Hogaboom on top of that. Hey, they play together.
Yeah. Tie in. My suck of the week. Let's bring some joy to this.
Joy to the suck of the week.
Joy to the suck of the week. My suck of the week are some NCAA shoplifters.
Oh, nice.
Yes, sir. Your heroes are LeAngelo Ball, Jalen Hill, and Cody Riley. Yes, boys. What do you do when you're on a road trip to China? You steal shit. That's what you're doing. You steal stuff. Yes, sir. Why? I don't know. You're in a foreign country with questionable human rights records.
What could go wrong?
Maybe you don't want to be in their jail. No, let's go and just start stealing everything we see from every shop owner. So, of course, they got caught. And under Chinese law, they could potentially have served 10-year prison sentence. So it actually took the President of the United States, Donald Trump, when he was over in China, happened to be over in China for just trade talks.
Oh, can I throw in one other thing too?
Go ahead.
There's also a 92% conviction rate.
Yeah, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, human rights.
So yeah, Donald Trump, he happened to be in China for trade talks, and he basically took it upon himself to make a request to the Chinese leader if he would pardon these 3 idiots for the sake of goodwill between the 2 nations. So they did. The Chinese, thankfully, to their credit, they said, yeah, fine, these guys are idiots, just get them out of our country, so they stopped stealing more stuff. And these 3 halfwits, they basically said, I'm sorry for stealing from the stores in China. That was the quote from...
that was their quote. I'm sorry.
From LeAngelo Ball. I'm sorry for stealing from the stores in China. So, Big Baller Brand, maybe you need to bail these guys out next time or something. So, yeah, it was just a complete disaster. And on on the throes of that, Donald Trump never did get a thank you from the Ball family from saving their boy. And he said it would have been nice to have gotten a thank you, and they haven't. So kind of like that little bit of controversy has continued. So yeah, basically suck of the week on basically the entire Ball family for not acknowledging, not saying, hey, Don, thanks for keeping my kid out of jail.
There's not much I could support Trump on, but this one could be an exception.
Yep. And big time suck for 3 idiots deciding to go shoplifting in China. So, yeah, that is my epic suck of the week.
Three idiots who went shoplifting in China made Donald Trump look like the good guy.
There you go. Boom.
Wow. Well done.
Well done. And with that is another show. There we're wrapping up another episode of the Body and Mind Sports Show. Please do like us and subscribe to our channel. And Body, thanks again for another great show.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks to be back. It's great. It's awesome. It's fun. We'll be back next week with more shenanigans.
Absolutely. So thanks Thanks once again for listening to another episode of the Body and Mind Sports Show.